My family took me out of education and I was held a prisoner at home for a number of weeks until I agreed to the marriage. And I did, purely to buy about my freedom, and I ran away from home. My mother said to me, "You either come home and marry who we say, or from this day forward you are now dead in our eyes."
Muslim extremists are pulling out all the stops to try to censor that great new film that brings attention to violence against women around the world, especially in Muslim countries. We've told you about the movie before. It's called Honor Diaries, and it's been shown at college campuses, even on Parliament Hill. But now, certain universities in the U.S. have canceled screenings of the film because groups like CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, are complaining that the film is, get this, Islamophobic. Well, that's just plain out censorship. Brooke Goldstein, director of the Lawfare Project, joins us now from New York. Brooke, it's great to see you again. They're not just trying to censor this film, they're trying to censor anyone involved with it, like the great Ayaan Hirsi Ali. She was scheduled to get an honor at Brandeis University, and CARE managed to blackball her, right?
Right. CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, and I understand you also have CARE Canada, a branch of this Muslim Brotherhood Front organization with deep ties to Hamas, is going around the United States and pressuring students and bullying schools to cancel screenings of this wonderful film that highlights the abuse of innocent Muslim women in Islamist societies. And CARE is doing so by crying Islamophobia. And the irony here, Ezra, is that what CARE considers to be anti-Muslim is advocating for the human rights of Muslim women, advocating that Muslim women deserve equal protection under the law. So if anything, it is CARE that is coming out with an extremely negative view about Islam.
Yeah, you know what was surprising to me? I mean, I'm familiar with Brandeis University. It's an overwhelmingly Jewish, liberal, Ivy League school just outside Boston. And when Ayaan Hirsi Ali was chosen to speak there, I thought, well, that's gorgeous. For CARE to have that kind of sway over a liberal Jewish university shows just how far things have gone. Here, let me show you a tweet that CARE tweeted to start the censorship ball rolling. Take a look at this. Action alert. Ask Brandeis not to honor Islamophobe Ayaan Hirsi Ali. Now, you would think that a tweet from an Islamic extremist group would have no effect on an Ivy League school with a history of liberalism named after Justice Louis Brandeis, who was a free speechnik. But in fact, they got the school to renege and to actually shame Ayaan Hirsi Ali. Brooke, let me ask you this. If they can roll Brandeis, is there any university they can't roll?
You know, not only the fact that they have such access to universities, they are also invited to the White House. CARE has been invited to the State Department. They have access to public schools across the United States. They're touted as the representative of the Muslim community in the United States, and they're anything but. Their membership is dwindling. They're a foreign organization that receives most of its funding from foreign Middle East-based individuals who they list as anonymous. CARE received its founding money from the Holy Land Foundation, which is taken down for material support for terrorism. They received their founding money from the radical Wahhabi regime of Saudi Arabia. The fact that this organization even exists with 501c3 tax-exempt status in the United States is itself outrageous. I mean, this is a group that Senator Chuck Schumer said, quote, has ties to terrorism, and its founders have intimate links to Hamas. This is an organization whose co-founder, Omar Ahmad, said Islam is to be the dominant authority in America. This is an organization who has come out against legislation proclaiming the Constitution as the supreme law in the land. So why on earth Brandeis University is succumbing to pressure from this terror-linked organization? To me, I mean, it's beyond.
Huh. You know what? It's funny you say that they have invitations to the White House. Egypt has just declared the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization because they live it. They've seen the violence and the murder. It was the Muslim Brotherhood that assassinated Anwar Sadat, the Egyptian president who dared to sign a peace treaty with Israel. And the fact that the United States rolls out the red carpet for this group that is a terrorist group in Egypt is shocking. But these days, nothing shocks me about Barack Obama. You'd think Brandeis would do a little bit better. I want to ask you, is there any way to fight back? I mean, I understand if there's this kind of censorship and bullying in a university in Karachi, Pakistan. I mean, it's sad, but that's a country that doesn't love freedom like America does. How does First Amendment loving America fight back against this Saudi finance censors?
Well, you know, I always say that the best way to protect your First Amendment rights to free speech, freedom of assembly, is to exercise them. What CARE doesn't understand is that this is the United States of America, and any publicity is good publicity. And what's happened since CARE has gone and intimidated and bullied schools and students to cancel screenings is that more people have wanted to screen this film. We have a screening coming up at Cardozo, the law school in New York. There's a screening coming up at Brandeis, I believe, next week as well. So CARE can try all it wants to shut this film down. The only thing it's doing is giving the film more publicity and encouraging Americans to go see the film. And I also want to mention, you know, Ayaan Hirsi Ali survived an Islamist society. She survived female genital mutilation. She survived a forced marriage. She survives on a daily basis amidst constant threats to her life. How dare Brandeis shame her like this? How dare they claim to be the authority on who is and who is not a human rights advocate? And how dare CARE go around and try to shame a woman who works every day at risk of her own life, raising awareness about human rights violations against innocent Muslim women in Islamist societies.
Brooke, you rock. With you on our side, freedom will be strong. Thanks for joining us today. Good to see you again.